It was a sweltering Sunday morning in Accra, when police officers at a busy intersection flagged down a gleaming white Mercedes-Benz. The tinted windows weren't unusual. Most big shots in the city rode like that. But what made this one suspicious was the anonymous tip that came just 15 minutes earlier. "Officer, check that car. Something unholy is inside." The car rolled to a stop, and the door swung open. A man stepped out, his crisp black suit pristine as midnight, a purple tie bold as royalty. His shoes gleamed like polished obsidian, and his head was clean-shaven, reflecting the harsh Ghanaian sun. He flashed a smile, revealing a gold tooth that winked like a distant star. "Good morning, officer," the man said, his voice smooth as shea butter. "I'm Pastor Kwame Asante, founder of Divine Light Ministries. I have a healing service this afternoon. God bless you." But the officer's face remained stern. He looked the pastor up and down, then said firmly, "Open your boots, sir." Pastor Kwame's smile faltered for a moment. "There's nothing inside," he replied, his tone still calm, but with an edge of tension. "Please, I'm already running late. Thousands are waiting for a miracle." "It's just routine, sir," the officer insisted. "1 minute and you'll be on your way." Kwame glanced at his Rolex, then slowly reached into his jacket. He pulled out a thick envelope, bulging with crisp, seedy notes. "My son," he said, his voice now honeyed with persuasion, "surely we can resolve this misunderstanding. Take this as a blessing and let me continue God's work." The air crackled with tension. One officer stepped back, shaking his head, but before anyone could speak, a commotion erupted from the trunk, a muffled thump, then another. The officers exchanged glances, hands moving to their holsters. "Open it, now," the lead officer commanded, all pretense of courtesy gone. Pastor Kwame's face drained of color. Slowly, trembling, he moved to the back of the car. As the trunk creaked open, gasps of horror filled the air. Inside, partially concealed by a blood-stained cloth, lay 3 human heads. The scene exploded into chaos. Pastor Kwame was tackled to the ground, his cries of innocence drowned out by the shouts of officers and the growing crowd of onlookers. As he was handcuffed and shoved into a police car, his eyes met those of a young woman in the crowd. Her face was a mask of betrayal and disgust. Ama Mensah had once been Pastor Kwame's most devoted follower. She'd given everything to his ministry, her time, her money, her heart, Now, as she watched the man she'd thought of as a living saint being hauled away like a common criminal, her world crumbled around her. The story of Pastor Kwame Asante's fall from grace spread through Accra like wildfire. Divine Light Ministries, once the fastest-growing church in Ghana, became a ghost town overnight. But as shocking as the pastor's arrest was, it was only the beginning of a tale that would shake the nation to its core. In the days that followed, a web of deceit, jealousy, and forbidden love began to unravel. Detective Inspector Kofi Boateng, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for cracking impossible cases, was assigned to the case. As he dug deeper, he uncovered a story far more twisted than anyone could have imagined. It turned out that Pastor Kwame's rise to fame hadn't been through divine intervention, but through a series of carefully orchestrated miracles and manipulations. His inner circle included not just devoted followers, but skilled con artists and desperate individuals willing to do anything for a taste of power and wealth. Among them was Isi Agyeman, Pastor Kwame's personal assistant and secret lover. Beautiful, ambitious, and utterly ruthless, Isi had been the mastermind behind many of the pastor's schemes. But lately, she'd grown tired of living in his shadow. She wanted more power, more money, more recognition. As Inspector Boateng pieced together the evidence, a chilling picture emerged. The human heads found in Pastor Kwame's car weren't just random victims. They were members of his own congregation, people who had threatened to expose his fraudulent practices, but who had actually committed the murders. Was it Pastor Kwame himself, desperate to silence those who could bring down his empire? Or was there another player in this deadly game? The investigation led Boateng to Emmanuel Osei, Pastor Kwame's right-hand man and the church's head of security. A former soldier with a shadowy past, Emmanuel had always been fiercely loyal to the pastor, but recent events had strained that loyalty to the breaking point. It seemed that Emmanuel had discovered Pastor Kwame's affair with Ezi. Consumed by jealousy and rage, he'd confronted the pastor, threatening to expose not just the affair, but all of the church's illegal activities. In response, Pastor Kwame had promised Emmanuel a greater role in the ministry and a share of its vast wealth. But Emmanuel wasn't satisfied. He wanted Ezi for himself, and so a deadly plan was born. As Inspector Boateng unraveled the threads of this complex tapestry of deceit, he found himself drawn into a world where nothing was as it seemed. The lines between victim and perpetrator blurred, and every new revelation brought more questions than answers. Meanwhile, Ama Mensah, the once devoted follower, found herself at the center of the storm. As news of her close relationship with Pastor Kwame spread, she became a target for both the media and angry former church members. Some accused her of being complicit in the pastor's crimes, while others saw her as just another victim of his manipulation. Torn between her lingering faith and the harsh reality of Pastor Kwame's betrayal, Ama struggled to make sense of her role in the unfolding drama. She found an unlikely ally in Inspector Boateng, who saw in her not just a valuable witness, but a kindred spirit searching for truth in a world of lies. As the investigation reached its climax, the streets of Accra buzzed with speculation. Who would be arrested next? How deep did the corruption go? And what dark secrets still lay hidden beneath the surface of Ghana's glittering mega-churches? In a dramatic press conference, Inspector Boateng finally revealed the truth, or at least as much of it as could be proven. Pastor Kwame, Ezi, and Emmanuel had all played a part in the gruesome murders, each driven by their own twisted motivations. But they were just the tip of the iceberg. The investigation had uncovered a vast network of corruption that reached into the highest levels of Ghanaian society. As the accused were led away to face justice, a stunned nation was left to grapple with the aftermath. For many, like Ama, it was a painful awakening, a realization that faith, when twisted by greed and ambition, could lead not to salvation, but to damnation. In the end, the story of Pastor Kwame Asante and Divine Light Ministries became a cautionary tale, a reminder that even in the holiest of places, darkness can take root. It was a story of betrayal, love, and envy, a mirror held up to the complexities of human nature and the dangers of blind faith. As the sun set over Accra that evening, casting long shadows across the city's churches and mosques, a new chapter in Ghana's spiritual journey was beginning. One built not on the charisma of self-proclaimed prophets, but on the enduring power of truth, justice, and genuine faith. The case of the pastor caught with 3 human heads in his car would be remembered for years to come, not just as a sensational crime, but as a turning point in the nation's collective consciousness. It was a reminder that true divinity lies not in grand gestures or miraculous claims, but in the quiet dignity of living an honest, compassionate life. And for Ama Mensah, standing at the crossroads of disillusionment and hope, it was the first step on a new path, one that would lead her not to the false promises of charlatans, but to the genuine light of understanding and self-discovery. As night fell over Ghana, the echoes of this extraordinary tale lingered in the air, a testament to the enduring power of truth in a world all too often shrouded in deception.